What would you do if you were creating your very first YouTube video only to find when you were done that halfway through your camera just randomly decided to stop recording? Well, that is exactly what happened to me when I tried recording this video at the beginning of December 2024, and it took me just over a month to come back here to finish recording. In my defense, though, I had a baby in the meantime. Hi, I'm Amy Nicole, and these are my thoughts on the uncomfortable process of making progress. A process that is super important to understand if you are tired or don't even want to begin putting out a bunch of effort that's only going to get you nowhere. If you have been or are currently working towards a goal and haven't been able to make any movement towards it, you're putting out lots of effort, you're just not moving in the direction you want to be, it's firstly and most importantly to understand the difference between true and fake progress. Because fake progress is where most people get stuck. And they get stuck in it because it's familiar, it's habitual, it's what you know, it's what you've always known, and without even realizing it, it's usually the cycle that you keep on perpetuating without even realizing that you're doing it. So fake progress comes along with the promise that you're going to get somewhere and you're going to get somewhere fast, but then when you look back on your days, weeks, months, or years, or decades, you see that you've spent a lot of energy only to be standing in one spot spinning your wheels. So for example, in my own life, this has looked like me over a very long period of time having the desire to have some kind of home business. It looks like me having a great idea and then going and doing a bunch of research, maybe buying a course, buying a bunch of equipment, a bunch of product, a bunch of something, and then creating stuff, whether it's a real product or an online product, and then nothing. I don't do anything or haven't done anything to actually get it in front of real people. And that's not true. I've done a few things to get it in front of real people, and when I have, it usually sells really well. Problem is, I, for one reason or another, don't do that consistently. And so then I don't get the results I want. I get frustrated. And then I jump right back into the idea stage of figuring out something else that I can create. So then I find a different idea. I go and I buy a bunch of stuff or buy a course. I buy equipment and then I create a bunch of stuff and then nothing all over again. And I've gone through this cycle in my own life again and again and again, more times than I really care to count or look back on. But it has been helpful to look back on because that has taught me how to take the time to figure out how to actually create true progress in my life. Because if I was creating true progress, I would have known right from the very beginning that my problem is not in coming up with an idea. It's not in buying stuff. It's not in getting the right equipment and learning how to use it. It is not even in creating stuff. It is, I need to learn how to get what I'm creating in front of people. So true progress would have looked like me not creating and coming up with more ideas. It would have looked like me, let's say 10 years ago, it would have looked like me going around to the different stores and shops and gas stations in our area and asking if they wanted to buy my product, which at that point was a bug bite stick that I had created. And I am doing that again with my niece because she's an amazing seller. So I get to create it, she's going to promote it, and 10 years later, here we are doing it again. But back then, I froze up when it came to actually approaching real people. So instead of approaching real people, I just went and came up with another idea, and I would get stuck in the cycle, which gave me a lot of false progress. In the moment, it gave me the promise that I was going to get momentum and I was getting somewhere because I'm putting a ton of effort out, but I was making no movement towards the goal of actually having a home business. The problem is that true progress is going to take you outside of your comfort zone. And anytime you're outside of your comfort zone, you are going to be hitting walls. You're going to have learning curves thrown at you and you don't know where or when or what it's going to look like or what it's going to feel like or what it's going to take or how long it's going to take for you to learn whatever it is that you're needing to learn. And that process is extremely uncomfortable for a lot of us. It feels like taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. And it's very easy to try to avoid it at all costs. Simply put, it is downright uncomfortable. And what I know now is that it's also incredibly productive when you can make true progress that takes you outside of your comfort zone. So the trick is, how do you get comfortable with being uncomfortable with this whole process? Because false progress is going to keep you stuck in your habitual patterns, again, putting out a ton of effort, but getting nowhere. And so it's going to feel comfortable in the moment. But when you look back over years or decades, you're going to see that you didn't really get anywhere. And over time, it's very frustrating, but true progress is going to be uncomfortable in the moment, but it's going to move you through the different stages and learning curves that you need to go through in order to reach your goal so that you can do your life's work. So I've got 5 points for you that have been incredibly helpful for me as I've learned, I usually know kind of what I need to be doing. I just have become incredibly skilled. I think most of us are very skilled at avoiding the thing that we want to do that we really don't want to do, but we know that we need to do it if we're going to get anywhere. We get really skilled at avoiding that thing. So you likely know what you need to do, but you're just avoiding it. So here are 5 things that have helped me to actually face those things that I need to do. All right, so number 1 is that discomfort when you are working on something new, like when you're stretching yourself and you're stepping outside of when you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, the discomfort and that like gut-wrenching feeling that just makes you want to run away, it lasts an incredibly short time. The fear of when we are going to be stepping out to do whatever task, big or small, it could be in the privacy of your own home. For a lot of people, and for me, just sitting in front of the camera like this was one of the hardest things to do. And then I did it a couple times, and all of a sudden, whatever I felt back then, I don't feel it now. I don't think about it now. And that is the case for most people, that when you step out to do something new, and you face your fears and you just allow yourself to be super uncomfortable doing it, the fear dissolves super, super quickly. So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is that for Christians, it is super easy when we start to step outside of our comfort zone or develop a new skill, or when we hit a learning curve, to think that God is saying no to us. And instead of working towards the very good kingdom work and the different callings that God has called us to, we end up stepping back when we should be stepping in. And because we start believing that we are unskilled, we're the wrong person for the job, there could be someone else who could do it so much better. We believe that just God is saying no, that it's not the time, that we missed the boat, whatever it is. We step back when we should be stepping in. Point number 3 is that learning should go beyond your first 20 years of life, which sounds like a duh. And yet, we all know that from the day a baby's born all the way until they're 20 years old, their life is going to be filled with learning and this uncomfortable process that, for them, it's just an everyday reality. And we all had this experience where you're in school, or you're learning how to put your shoes on, or you're learning different relationship skills. Like, you're just constantly learning. And for some reason, we tend to hit a moment in our life where the learning stops. So do yourself a favor and learn how to learn, and to be comfortable again with this 2 steps forward, 3 steps back kind of process. Which brings me to point number 4, is that throughout this whole video, I've been using the phrase that it feels like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. It feels uncomfortable. It's not actually backwards movement, because when you are stepping outside of your comfort zone and you're hitting a learning curve, it can be the most uncomfortable thing in the world, or you can get the most just icky feedback from somebody. And yet even that process of stretching yourself and of learning something new is still a step in the right direction. As long as you're not, all over the map trying to learn a whole bunch of different things. If you're actually taking action that is in line with your goal and that is helping you towards your goal, then even if you learn that, you were working on something and you thought that it was a step in the right direction, but then you learned it's actually not, and so then you're backtracking. You're not going to worry about whatever it is, and you're going to refocus and put your energy in the right direction instead. Even that is this like forward backwards kind of movement, and it's still getting you in the right direction. And so even though it feels uncomfortable, it's still this, it's all totally this forward movement, because it's still getting you in the right direction and you're not spinning your wheels in one spot. Point number 5 is that stepping outside of your comfort zone it just takes an immense amount of energy. So do it for short periods of time. Don't live outside of your comfort zone. Just step outside, learn what you need to learn, do what you need to do, come back into your comfort zone, have a cup of tea, have a bath, do something fun with your family, and at the very least, give yourself until the next day before you step outside of your comfort zone again. That said, I have been outside of my comfort zone to make this video. I am really looking forward to this being something that comes second nature, and I feel like it's right around the curve before that's going to happen. But for now, I'm going to go and have a cup of tea and put my feet up and spend some time with my husband. And thanks for watching. That's all until next time.